to It Came From GenX. Keith Porter here alongside Brian, my man Fisher, and Mr. Michael Skimbo Skinner. How you doing, fellas?
Don't everybody start at once. Hey.
Yeah, hey, listen.
Hey,
I know
doing
it's a
well,
rough
guys.
question to ask. I just lost 2 computers in one night. So I get it, okay? I don't think keep me from crying is doing this show. What's going on, Fish?
Doing well, man. Great weekend. More quality time with my lovely girlfriend, Allie, and good friends. So great weekend. How are you?
Good, man. Love that picture of you guys on Facebook, man. That's awesome pic.
Thank you. Wedding reception, one of her former colleagues, very lovely couple, and got to meet some of Allie's current and prior colleagues. So it was really nice evening up in Strongsville. So yeah, great time. Thank you. Yeah.
But I had a good weekend too. Great rehearsal with the new singer. And Saturday, me and my mom and Pam went out all day, drove to Hudson to one of the few Perkins pancake houses in Northeast Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And had a great day. So it was a good day. And as far as that rehearsal goes, just a quick announcement. My band Rock Generation will be making its debut August 21st, opening for Enough's Enough at Empire Concert Club.
Ooh.
Me or at the club. So I'm excited about that. Hope to see you guys there. August 21st.
August 21st. Wow. Yeah. Enough's Enough, man. They're good too, man.
Yeah.
That's a big time 80s band right there.
Yep. Looking forward to it. What's up, Skinner?
Hey, just surviving.
You didn't cut nothing off this week?
What's that?
You didn't cut nothing off this week?
No, actually, the only thing that got cut off of me were the stitches this morning from my surgeon. So
excellent.
They pulled the stitches today. I got a good, clean bill of health from the doctor. Looks like middle of July, actually on Michael's birthday, July 19th, they're going to pull the pins.
Okay, so, that's great news.
I got some great news from them today, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, we're good to hear that. Awesome. Well, Fish, we have a lot to talk about, so tell them where they can find us.
Thank you. So you might be listening to us on WMVU.org, Global Internet Radio, every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can listen to the same episode on podcast platforms whenever you wish. Find us on all major podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you do listen to us on podcasts, give us a subscribe and a rating and review if you're on Apple. Helps others find the show. Ask your home assistant device to play the It Came From GenX podcast, and she will do that for you. Find our Facebook page at It Came From GenX, all one word. YouTube channel, also It Came From GenX. Instagram, It Came From _GenX. We're also out there on Twitter, It Came From GenX, and TikTok at It Came From GenX 330. Email the show, It Came From GenX 330 at gmail.com. All this information, if you can't remember any of it, I know these guys can't either at all. So look for us on Linktree, L-I-N-K tree. Just Google Linktree. It Came From GenX. All show information packaged up very nice and neat on our profile. Nothing to log into. Just a nice landing page. Click any link you want to our podcast platforms, Facebook page, what have you, and that will take you right there. So Linktree, It Came From GenX. Check us out. If you like our stuff, give us a like, subscribe, a share, tell your friends. We appreciate it. That's how we grow here a little bit. So we appreciate your support. Out there.
Big time. We do this for ourselves, but we hope that you would enjoy it and join in with us in this show, talking about life through the eyes of Gen Xers, also the dichotomy between us and millennials and even baby boomers and Gen Zs. So please enjoy the show and let us know about it. Amen. All right, so listen, moving on. Guys, I read an interesting thing on Google today when I asked, what is Gen X known for? And it said Generation X refers to people born during the early to mid 60s, 1960s to 1980. Generation X, also called Gen Xers, grew up with minimal adult supervision and thus learn the value of independence and work-life balance. They also appreciate informality, are technologically adept, flexible, and highly educated. First question I got to ask: minimal adult supervision. Does this say anything good or bad or kind of benign about our parents? The term latchkey kid, I think, was invented with our generation, if I'm not mistaken. I grew up personally. Mom was at work. We were home alone. Even at a young age, I was babysitting nieces and nephews, my sister and I. Very adult things, cleaning, cooking, all of that stuff. So it was a good thing for me. It taught me responsibility. I met a lot of guys my age, don't know how to clean, don't know how to cook, don't know how to do a lot of things. What does this say about our parents? Skinner, we'll start with you. How was your childhood in that regard?
If I acted up, my ass was getting beat. That was how we grew up.
Well,
And
Dave,
you're cracking on that, but that's actually the truth. We were not happy to see my dad pull out the belt when we screwed up. So yeah, we learned very quickly that we had to one, behave ourselves, respect our elders, and figure out how to do things on our own. Because, like you said, mom worked part-time during the day. So while we were at school, that was fine. But during the summertime, betcha, bottom line, my dad worked nights, so we had to sleep. He slept during the day, and don't ever wake him up after he's been asleep for a couple
Oh
hours,
no,
because
never worked to do a father that works third shift. Wake them up.
yeah. So yeah, no, I think it doesn't say anything for our parents other than, to me, they brought us up the right way.
Right. Well, when you think about it, in the 60s and 70s, there was the traditional model home where mom was at home, dad was at work. By the time it got to the late 70s or 80s, things changed, and then you had to have the two working parent household, if you will. And I think it caused us to grow up a little more than we maybe had wanted to, but it turned out to be kind of a good thing. Fish?
yeah, I mean, I was lucky to grow up in that, mom was home and dad worked. I was adopted. So at the time, you had to do that. So that was the law. One of the parents had to be home with the adopted child, apparently. That's what I was told. I, believe it. So mom had to quit her job at the time. So as a kid, that was great for me having mom home. Now,
Yeah.
it's tougher on the household with one income family for a while until when I was in high school, mom also started
Right.
working
So
too.
it's a
But
really good income.
yeah, right, exactly. But it's just different, as we know. I mean, you had to, as a parent, you had to trust your kids because you had no way to get a hold of them. So we were, they just had to trust us to get out there and go ride our bikes in the neighborhood and play and hang out and just come home when the street lights came
Right.
on. But we knew, though, if we didn't follow the rules, to Skinner's point, that we were going to be held accountable. And whether it be dad, punishing us or whatever it was, you followed your rules and you respected your parents at the time. So just a different time. But you're right, definitely helped make you more resilient, helped make you maybe a little bit more dependable. To Skinner's point, we certainly respected our elders. And as far as you're talking about well, I guess we'll get into the technological stuff here in a second. But that's just a different time. But yeah, I think we grew up in a great era of
Sure we did.
responsibility like that. Yeah.
And not to get too much in the technical part, but I sold cell phones when they first came out.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear the different parents who, well, I'm going to get one for my kids. I can call them to come home, this, that. You mentioned the street lights. That was all we needed.
Mm-hmm.
We were trusted to be down the street, up the street, around the corner maybe. But when them street lights came on, you better be on the front porch or in the front yard.
Yep.
I had 5
Somebody was
minutes
coming
once
to
those
get.
lights came on.
Yeah.
I seen a couple of my friends' parents come and get them with a shoe, and it wasn't pretty.
Mhm.
Sure.
And beat them all the way back home. My mom preferred a switch. So it's just interesting to hear. Now, here's the other part of the quote that I disagree with. It said that we were more technologically adept. I don't particularly agree with that. I got a 3-year-old nephew who can work everything in this house. I have a 5-year-old niece. She was working a tablet 2 years ago. It's unbelievable. I think when they grow up with it, they seem to be more adapt with it. You know, they grow up with these computers. I mean, you think about it. My son, he's 24. His whole life there's been cell phones. His whole life there's been, computers and things like that. Do you agree with that statement, Skinner?
Oh, I don't agree with it whatsoever, because my 12-year-old is our IT person here at the house.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I'm going to be 50 this year. I'm not really that old, but this technology that's going on today with these new phones and all this stuff, I don't understand it. So for them to say that we were more in depth to it, I disagree with that.
Okay. Fish?
We had to adapt a lot, so I agree with that statement a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm a little bit above average with some of my peers, but you think about it. We grew up, we had nothing to, it just gradually, answer machines, VCRs, Ataris, gaming systems, all these things we had to evolve, learn how to use effectively. Program a VCR. That wasn't no easy feat back then.
Hey,
No.
Porter, he was referring to us.
I'm just saying. It just yeah. But a lot of people might. I'm Jim Cunningham and others tech guy too to set up simple things and all that. But you just learn to adapt and all that. So think about all the technology we've had to learn to use over the years, including smartphones and tablets and everything else. So, but we find a way to do it. We're not so technologically inept where we can't figure it out if we put our minds to it. Yeah, certainly young people grew up with it, but they know certain things. I don't know how broad they are. It's definitely different, but we adapted well.
I remember this very vividly. I was in college at the University of Akron, right out of high school, 18 years old, and they had little stations, every so many feet that had the boxes with the little short yellow pencils where you filled out all your forms and everything and turned them in. And that's what I remember. I remember, homework being like that, everything else. Unfortunately, they didn't have a class on playing drums and girls, so I ended up dropping out because that's all I cared about at the moment. Boom, I go back in 2004. A few decades later. And that's in my mind, the little boxes with the pencils. No, they're gone. At every station is computers and computer screen. Do your classes, check your zip mail, do all these things. I was dumbfounded. I didn't have a clue. I knew how to get on a couple sites, but as far as all this savvy stuff and everything was computer. Your homework was given to you through computer. It was really, really a little bit frightening. I adapted very, very well, became quite savvy with it. But I remember some people who had the hardest time. I remember an older guy who I think they expelled him because he refused to do his assignment on computer because he didn't know how. Older guy. And he kept writing it in pencil, they wouldn't accept it. And it became a really big issue for him. So that's why I disagree with that statement. But I thought it was just an interesting quote about the definition of Gen Xers. And I thought about, man, growing up, I think that what happened with the household changed things for us. Well, we became more independent, we became stronger, we became more responsible, and we don't whine about as many things.
Yeah, and I think it's passing down to our kids. You know what I mean? So, our parents had to trust us. They had no choice. Either going to keep you in the yard, or allow you to go out. And I'm sure they were scared. At least moms were, for the very least. But and now it's like, I don't know about you guys, but it's like, I feel like my daughter Peyton. I trust her. I'll check in with her, but I'm not one of those. What are you doing? When are you going to be home? I mean, you have to establish that trust, and then told her a long time ago, I'll trust you as long as you give me a reason, unless you give me a reason not to trust you, right? So, yeah. So I think our kids are turning out okay with all that. So yeah.
When he went out to college and moved into the dorm, I made sure I wasn't going to be bugging him every night, and let him do his thing, let him grow up until he gave me a reason not to trust him. That never happened, and he's doing just fine. So
there you go. Yep.
All right. Well, Fish, are you talking sporting the classic Batman logo from the TV show? Adam West, Burt
That's
wore
right.
awesome shirt. How about we start off with some pop culture today?
Okay.
First things up a little bit.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so one of the bigger pop culture figures in our you know recent years, I guess, more recent years, Brittany Spears. Uh, Big news this week. She went to court about her conservatorship case. So if you don't know what that is, basically, when she went through her breakdown, which was pretty public back in 2008, you might recall, she shaved her head, and
Yeah.
it was pretty sad and disturbing there for a minute. But
Very
yeah, so basically, her father got control over all her assets and everything else, and it's become a big case or a big public case with her saying that she's being abused, that she has to wear an IUD, and she's okay. She wants to get rid of this conservatorship thing. And her dad is saying, no, I'm doing it to protect her and stuff. So definitely making a lot of news. And it's with her being a pretty revered public figure and artist. I mean, a lot of people are backing her up and protesting. And it's really kind of a big deal on social media. So, I don't know if you've been following this case at all. It is pretty interesting. And I feel bad for her if she is truly of sound mind. To not be able to control your own life as an adult must be extremely frustrating and difficult. So I don't know. So are you following this case? What do you think about it? Skinner, any thoughts on the Britney Spears conservatorship case? Or, nah, I'm just not even following it. Don't really care.
Well, it's been 13 years since she had her breakdown.
Yeah.
You know, who's to know better than her doctors whether she's of sound mind now? My understanding is that she's trying to get married, has a boyfriend that she's been with for a while. They're wanting to move on with their life and just wanting to be a normal, law-abiding citizen with adult responsibilities like everybody else. Having her father on her thumb on her forehead and telling her everything she can do. Me personally, I don't agree with it. If the doctor says she's of sound mind, it needs to be over. So, yeah, I've been watching it. I remember the train wreck from 2008 when the one scene she was in a parking lot with a baseball bat with the bald head, and felt bad for her then. You know, it's she was the joke of Hollywood there for a little while, but I felt bad for her. It was but it looks like she's made a full recovery from what I see, but I don't, obviously I'm not in her day-to-day life, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I think it's time. If she's of sound mind, her doctors say she's of sound mind, it's time to let it go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Keith, any thoughts on this or not really?
I truly feel bad for Britney Spears. My personal thoughts, she's being handled, and she's suffering from MK1 ultra mind control. I think it's a common practice in Hollywood, especially with young artists. Her breakdown was evident of it. Martin Lawrence, the list goes on and on. I don't think her father has, whether he's looking out for her or not. I think it's all about money. She's an adult woman, and if her doctor says she's fine, I don't think he has the right to do what he's doing, whether he's her father or not. But I feel sorry for this young lady. She's been in a trapped world at a young age, starting on the Mickey Mouse Club, the big public breakup with Justin Timberlake, and then of course the meltdown. Then of course when she reemerged on one of the music shows with the belly hanging out, whatever, and she became the ridicule, as Skinner mentioned, of the music industry. She got herself back in shape and whatnot, but this poor girl has not had a childhood. She's been handled. I think she's mentally fragile right now, but she should be able to make her own decisions right now.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Okay, another very public figure in our lifetime made an appearance recently at the LGBTQ Pride Party in New York City. Kind of made her fans wait till, I guess, very late hours, so like 1:30 in the morning or something like that. But haven't seen her on stage in a while. Madonna made an appearance. She is 62 years of age, which, get your head around that for a second. Certainly, arguably the queen of pop in the 80s, definitely one of them at the very least, along with some other iconic singers, Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston, and others. But Madonna definitely was a huge trendsetter in the 80s. Great music, very, very popular. Like I said, been around for a while, but it was kind of cool to see her on stage. There's a picture of her. I mean, she's, she looks like a little older of a woman, but she looks good for her age. I didn't see the performance, but there you go. So, Skinner, interested in Madonna still? What are your thoughts on Madonna growing up? Or, not really a fan, don't care?
I knew of her music. Not really a fan. She was easy in the eyes as a young kid.
Sure.
But I was a metalhead, so that was not my genre of music. But anybody that lived outside of a rock or a cave knew who Madonna was, and that's just how it was.
Yep. Keith, Madonna?
62 years of age blows my mind.
Isn't that something? Boy.
Sophomore at Kenmore High School, being at Dave Porter's house with him and a bunch of senior girls over there, and they're all sitting there going, "Oh, this is the girl I was telling you about." They're trying to copy her dance moves, man. She was doing Borderline or something. 62 years of age is crazy. Very telling. No, I'm not a fan. Growing up, I did love a lot of her songs. This might be lame to say, but I wonder if the whole LGBTQ whatever thing is a cheap way of staying relevant.
Sure.
That's certainly a crowd that she can always appeal to. She's certainly not top of the charts right now. Like you said, she's 62. So I wonder if this is one way of staying relevant. But no, I don't pay attention to Madonna for quite some time now. I think she's a witch, and I stay as far away from her as possible.
You think she's a witch literally?
Yes.
Or are you just saying that? Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Like witchcraft, you mean is that how she got her popularity and stuff like that?
No.
Okay.
I guess you could say that in a roundabout way, yeah. But she practiced witchcraft. Some of her performances, if you watch them very carefully, they were rituals done on stage. You can see the Baphomet, the black, the red. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I liked her stuff growing up. I thought she was cool. I mean, they're definitely trendsetter at the time. But yeah, I'm with you. It's probably a way to keep relevant, and who knows? This podcast actually is within the top 30 of favorite podcasts among LGBTQ. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's a top 30. I don't know. I read that somewhere. I don't know. So I have to figure out. I'll have to find the source article and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I do want to say this about Madonna, and I've said it before, and I've thought this for years. I single-handedly blame her for the demise of young teenage girls all around the world between 13 and 18. I think there was a shift in the morality of young women because of Madonna. Beyonce, I blame now. Madonna was the one back then. You got your Marilyn Monroes, you got your Madonnas, blah blah blah, so forth, so forth.
Yeah, I guess with the attire and maybe the attitude a little bit,
sure,
stuff like that.
The songs like a virgin, and then the whole, Papa don't preach, I'm gonna have my baby anyway, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm leaving home.
Yeah,
that was a bad role model.
I mean, what do you expect from a witch? I don't know.
Point taken.
Really, if you think about it.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I saw this and I just what they're putting on television anymore is really it's like we're trying so hard to even on this little podcast here, it just get us a couple likes here and there, but they're trying to make it a big show on television anymore. There's so much content out there. You have to try to be strange and outlandish or whatever it is. So you guys are familiar with the show Masked Singer, I assume, right? You know what that is?
Yes.
Yeah. Now they have the Masked Dancer, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they have dating shows out there and, Bachelor and all that stuff. Okay. So somebody's sitting around may or may not have been partaking in some herbs, perhaps. I don't know. It's my guess.
Some
Hi.
earthly grains, yes.
Yeah, hi, how about people like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? They like The Masked Singer. How about we combine?
Like peanut butter and jelly, baby.
Yeah. So how do we do that? Well, how they do that is this is going to be a Netflix show. It's a reality dating show called Sexy Beasts. Okay. And it has people on here, men and women, dressed up as various creatures. You have a fox. Where is it here? A beaver, a devil. See, Keith? I'm
Told
kidding.
you.
You got a panda, various alien-like creatures, and a scarecrow. So these people apparently, I guess, will go on dates. And the idea is, can we get people attracted to one another simply by their personality? You can't see who they really are, what they look like. They
Dude,
could be,
how
who
cool
knows?
can you be in a beaver outfit?
Now, there was a story from 1993, Keith. Now, let me. Now we'll save that for another time. I'm watching the time here. We'll talk about that another time. No, I'm kidding. But so, what do you think of the concept of sexy beasts? Are you interested? Is this really a sign that the world's going to hell in a handbasket to you? What do you think, or is it just like they're trying something crazy to get viewers, or you have some combination of those feelings? So, Keith, what do you think about all this?
All right, well, I'm going to be fair here. And I'm going to be fair because I've heard concepts before that sounded so stupid.
Uh-huh.
When I saw it, I said, okay, I see how they're doing this now. So I'm going to be fair and not judge nothing before it's time. But
Yep.
on surface, it sounds really, really stupid. If the premise is to see if there's an attraction to this person, how are you supposed to do that through an outfit, a scarecrow, a beaver? Where's the eye contact? Where's
You can see the
notice
eyes, apparently.
the
I don't
smile
know.
and
Yeah,
all
that's
that
right.
stuff?
You can't.
Where's the human touch at? I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. Skinner?
Yeah. Personality, man.
Well, they do say when you're with your soulmate or what have you that there are two attractions, both physical and emotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They're taking the physical aspect of it out to see what crap you can throw up against the wall and see what sticks.
There's
Yeah.
another one too, spiritual.
That's the spiritual. Yeah, you got that. This is stuff that I have no desire to watch. I don't watch The Masked Singer. I don't watch The Masked Dancer. I think it's stupid. Just like you said, I'm not even going to be politically correct about this.
I think it's all stupid, and I think they're all fake. My family loves watching The Masked Singer. I get the appeal. I've gotten wrapped up in the guessing who it is, but it's so full of crap. Because think about it, out of thousands of people, they all guessed the same 3, 4, and 5. How is that even possible? And the clues are never good. The clues are never relevant. Like, never. So it's just like reality TV. There's no such thing as reality TV. The only way to truly have reality TV is if the cameras are hidden. But you put a camera in somebody's face, it's no longer reality. People are going to play to the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So all a bunch
I
of
agree
bull.
with you there.
Yeah, it's an interesting, bizarre. They could do it a different way, but visually, I get it. It's sort of a play on online dating in some respects too, because when you first start chatting with people on online dating, a lot of it is you're just chatting. You're not even seeing each other initially.
Right.
You have to try to impress that person with your personality in some respects before. I mean, you got pictures,
Right.
but so you're right. The picture, some people just don't even give you the time of day and they just keep moving. I don't know. So the concept is interesting, but definitely
I'd
strange
be
and
interested.
Here's
bizarre.
the thought.
I tell you something else too. Something about human nature. People change when they put on a costume.
Yeah.
See, that's no different watching that show than to take Becca there behind you and put a voice to her like Peyton's voice.
Yeah.
And put them in front of a camera. It's the same damn thing, and people are going to watch it. That's the sick part about it.
Yep. You're right. Okay. All right. Speaking of putting on masks, and we'll get more into this. We're going to run out of time today, but I do want to talk about this more on the next episode. So there's a History biography. Part 2's tonight. Part 1 was last night on A&E, 2 hour per episode, so 4 hour special. Okay. So we'll talk more about Kiss. Check that out. Maybe we'll make that a topic for next week. Kiss in general. Yeah. So hold that thought. But I won't even go into it right now. So that's looking at the time. That's what I got for pop culture.
Great stuff.
Yeah. So
all right, Skinner. How about some world news, my brother?
All right. I want to go back to last week and an update on that Surfside, Florida. The building that collapsed down there, the condo apartment building. As of this afternoon, they are now up to 10 confirmed dead. 151 are still missing. And with that 151 still missing, and this is what's bothersome to me, is that no one has been pulled out of the rubble alive since Thursday night last week.
Not looking good.
It's not looking good for those 151
my brother,
that are still missing.
Said, fortunately, only one person was dead. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I'm like, tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we were hoping that was going to be the case, but unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I did find out, and this is interesting, and we're going to obviously not going to know for probably years to come. 2018, building was flagged with significant structural issues.
Right.
And it's unclear as of right now, as of today, if those concerns in 2018 caused what happened on Thursday last week or not. I
don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter. The correlation doesn't have to be proven.
No, because why? Because my thought is 3 years ago, there's concerns. Why weren't they looked at and fixed 3 years ago?
Exactly. And I'm saying right now, you got concerns. Bingo, now you have a disaster without the concerns being addressed. There's going to be some people to pay, man.
Oh,
and unfortunately, not all the money in the world will bring back the lost loved ones that were in that building who were sitting there minding their own business. And I can't even think about it. It's so horrific.
I agree. So I promise you guys I'd have an update on that, and I will keep it up as the weeks and months go on. We'll revisit the story again because I'm sure it's not over by no means.
Have we ever heard of anything like this growing up? I haven't.
No, like we talked about the Oklahoma City bombing was the only thing that was even remotely close to this.
Right, but that was an attack. I mean, just a building falling.
Right.
Yeah, we've had bridges and things fall, stuff like that. That's definitely killed a few, but nothing to this extent that I can recall a building. Like somebody said on the news, it's like third. Well, actually, it was the local mayor. That's what he said. It's like it's third world stuff when you hear a building just falling down. It's not supposed to happen in the United States.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So on to my other story, and this one's kind of interesting, and I'm going to put a little bit of a Gen X spin to it. New Zealand, that beautiful country down under, they are getting ready to ban all single-use plastics, bottles, cutlery, plates, utensils, anything that you would use for a single use that you would throw away or recycle, quote unquote. They are banning it. They're phasing it out between the years 2022 and 2025. So after 2025, you won't be able to use a plastic straw. Won't be able to use, like I said, grocery bags, which that's going pretty big here in Ohio. They're starting to get away from the grocery bags because who knows if those are just going to the landfill or if they're actually recycling these things.
Grocery bags hold roaches and all other creatures.
Right. So I wanted your guys' thought on that, and then I'm going to take a Gen X spin after you guys make your comments.
Did they say why?
Their landfills are too full. The per capita, they've got the biggest overcrowded landfill on the planet.
Well, I personally think it is one of the boldest initiatives made by a country that I've heard in a while. I think the last time the United States did something as bold is when they stopped smoking indoor in buildings. That took a lot of courage and guts to do that. I think this is a bold initiative. I know it's going to cause some inconvenience. I would be worried about how it's going to hurt the economy. That would be my major concern. You got a lot of businesses making these products. I don't know how they're going to do it unless it's an import thing, but that would be my biggest concern. How are you going to compensate for the job loss? But as far as our future is concerned, I applaud them for that, but I hope they thought it through.
Fish?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, first of all, it can be done. So if countries and leadership and industry, to your point, Keith, puts themselves behind these efforts, it could be done. If I make plastics today, is there something else I could do tomorrow? I don't know. Can I do paper products? Paper straws or something who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. They're stepping up and saying we're more concerned though with the environment than we are with at the end of the day, it'll be a temporary change. And, if that's all that's available, people will have to adapt to it because there won't be anything else to choose from. So I think overall it's a good thing. There's plenty of things you could do like that to reduce landfill. Why not? We need to do that. We need to get quicker in gear in the United States, in my opinion, as well, and get our own country cleaned up. So, yeah, applaud them. You're right. I feel bad for people that may lose their jobs over it because they're just trying to make a living. I get it. So, again, it will be a change for many people in that respect. But long run, right thing to do, clean up landfill. A lot of that shit flies in the ocean anyway, as we know. So it's, killing our oceans and ocean life as well, a lot of that stuff. So good for them.
Yeah, there's a big topic excuse me. Big topic of discussion here at our house about recycling, and that's why I did the quote unquote. Who knows if they're even recycling these things? They're charging us extra for the city to have that recycle can. But is that going to the landfill just like the other can is? There's no accountability for that. So what I wanted to bring up is, do you guys remember, I know I did all the time, going down to the Sparko market on Kimmel Boulevard for my mom when she was ready for her Pepsi. I took the 12-ounce or the 16-ounce bottles and had to return them in order to get another carton or what we would call a case of bottles. Then it was 8 or 10, I can't remember now exactly, but the bottles were all glass bottles that they reused. I remember having the glass bottles coming out of the Coca-Cola, especially Coca-Cola. They had those old time vending machines. And then they switched over to aluminum cans. I remember that was a big thing for us when we were young. The aluminum can was something that would really change the world when it comes to refreshments and things of that nature. But I also think back, your chocolate milk. They didn't have chocolate milk on the shelves. You just pour in your glass and drink. You had to buy the tin can that you used the spoon to pry open the top. Remember those?
Quick.
Days?
Nestle Quick.
The Nestle Quick. You had to use the spoon as a pry bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
The coffee cans were in aluminum containers. And it just brought back memories of when we were growing up that we didn't have this issue with plastic back then. And I'd like to see that go back to that at some point, or some kind of other material that's more favorable to the environment.
Well, they're going to have to come up with something, because it's not just about being more favorable to the environment. It's got to be favorable to the body too. And I've been studying this as of recently, just trying to get healthy. I've been making a lot of changes in my life, getting rid of things, learning about things I didn't know about before. And I recently started studying about the harmful effects of drinking out of plastic bottles. Now, my family here, we don't drink the water in the sink. We stack up stacks and stacks and stacks of water in the basement, and we drink plastic bottle water, or we drank purified for the longest, which found out that wasn't healthy for you, and we just recently switched to spring. But the harmful effects of that plastic, the chemical that comes off of it, I forget the technical name, is really bad for the body, especially if sunlight hits it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, man, what do we do now? But the aluminum was really just as bad. Aluminum foil, you wrap your food in it. It's not good for you. The chemicals that come off that aluminum in the food. So they're gonna. It'd be nice if they come up with a material that's good for the body and the environment, or come up with some very kind of hard paper. The Chinese, they use paper everything. Everything. They won't use any type of aluminum or anything like that. And some of their paper's really tough. You can buy drinks in it and everything else.
Interesting.
Yep, absolutely. I heard they make aluminum cans, Skinner. You know what they ever got to start? Witchcraft.
Witchcraft, yes.
Witchcraft.
Set up picture.
Yep.
I think I heard that too.
Yep. Also in the plastic bottles.
You guys are jerks.
That's where it all started. It all started. Yep.
All right, fellas,
Anything else,
that's all I
Skinner?
got.
I can't win. I give my opinion, and all I get is crap.
All right. Well, Keith, what bewitching topics do you have for us tonight?
Okay. Well, let's start with some sports because I got very little of that. The Olympic tryouts coming to an end. There were a bunch of
broom racing
up for that. Yeah. Guys, the Olympics are starting Friday, July 23rd. Are you going to watch the Olympics? And what are some of your favorite Olympic moments and favorite Olympic heroes? I thought it'd be great to kind of reminisce about that. Skinner?
We're watching the Olympics now, truthfully. We're watching the U.S. trials here. It's on NBC. They play it every night for at least an hour. Last night was gymnastics, watching those little tiny human beings
They're amazing, aren't they?
female gymnastics athletes. It's absolutely amazing what they do.
Is a beast.
I cannot believe how tiny she is.
She is, yes. You put
I don't think I've ever seen her until last night.
She's a witch.
And to watch these girls do what they do, jump as high as they high, and as strong as they are for being so little, it absolutely amazes me.
Yeah. The sacrifices they make to do what they do. It's almost inhumane when you see what the gymnasts have to go through. If you read about it, they're denied their period. They stunt their hormonal growth, can't grow breasts, things of that nature. But they're truly, truly incredible athletes. Fish?
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of it. It'll be interesting this year with very little spectators. That'll be kind of strange. I do like the Summer Olympics. I will watch probably some of the events. It's just the skill and athleticism of these young people is just really phenomenal. And to think about the sacrifices they do, especially having the Olympics pushed. Can you imagine that? You train all that time and you're ready, and they say, we're pushing out another year. You just be like, oh my God, all that training. Oh my God.
Because when you train, you got to peak when it's performance time.
Poor kids.
Yeah.
As far as some memorable moments for me, I mean, certainly, back in our, early high school years, Mary Lou Retton had an incredible routine to bring home the gold for the United States, and just that big smile, and her that, flag tights outfit she was wearing at the time was very patriotic, and then Carrie Strug too is another one that comes to mind.
Bella Caroli carrying her.
Yeah, my God, when she hurt her
broke her ankle,
and she sprained it really bad, I think, and she still completed her routine and landed on one foot, and it's like all the forces of nature kept her completely still, and it was a perfect landing, and she won the gold. That was pretty amazing. And then I enjoyed watching the Dream Team, the original Dream Team, USA basketball. That was a spectacle you will never see anything like that.
You'll never
all those
see that
Hall
kind
of
of
Famers
again.
Nope. And just the moments of just seeing Charles Barkley, for instance, throwing elbows into these guys over there, and just like, wait, this is USA basketball, MF, or boom, and just the demolishing everybody in their path. That you'll never see that, like I say, that collection of that talent ever again. So that was something to see back in '92. So spectacular stuff. That's what I got, Keith.
Skinner, you didn't get to talk about your best memories.
I was going to say, yeah, Mary Lou Retton comes to mind. Also, the Dream Team comes to mind. Greg Louganis, remember watching him. He was one of the all-time great divers of all time.
Yeah.
And to go back and watch his story, if you've seen his story or know anything about him, pretty amazing individual. And what those guys do and those gals do to train for the diving. And you can say that clear across any sport, truthfully. But I will definitely watch. I'm a Winter Olympics guy. I like I like a lot of the winter sports more than I do the summer, but it's entertainment that we only see 4 times a year, so I'm going to be watching it as much as I can.
I love it all, and I appreciate it all. Some of my greatest memories, Fisher really stole a few of them. Mary Lou Retton, the smile, totally unbelievable and charismatic, and Carrie Strug, but also man, FloJo, just her dominant. Yeah. She was utterly amazing, and
Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis is another one. Yeah,
that era of track stars was unbelievable. Gail Devers, they were all amazing. But even more, not too long ago, to see the dominance of Michael Phelps. If that didn't mess you up on the inside, I don't know what would. Yeah. That had me in tears. That was awesome to watch. He just totally dominated, like I've never seen anybody dominate before. And going back years before the women started dominating gymnasts, I remember we had one of the greatest men teams. I think it was it Bart Connor, Kurt Thompson?
That was like 88, wasn't it? I know what you're talking
those
about.
guys were amazing. And also another great moment right after the tragedies that happened on September 11th, Whitney Houston singing the national anthem. There was a feeling we had of unity.
Desert Storm, brother.
That
was Desert Storm, I think. Yeah.
I thought, okay, 9/11. But anyway, there was a feeling of unity that we had when she sang that.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had since.
Yep.
And that was utterly amazing.
There's one other name I bring up is Usain Bolt. The way that guy dominated.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Gee, watching that guy was like just a man playing with boys.
There was him and everybody else.
Yeah, okay, so that's my only sports story today, guys. Let's get to some music real quick. Not a lot happened this day in music. 2009, 3 days after the death of the king of pop, Michael Jackson, his album went to #1 for 7 weeks. The impact this guy had, obviously he had some things that marred his career, the allegations, the trials. Did you guys believe that? How do you feel about Mike? Fish?
Loved him as an artist. Some of the still to this day, when a Michael Jackson song comes on, I still like it. It's a guilty pleasure. I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I care. Don't get me wrong.
I know what you mean.
I as an artist, loved his stuff. Him as a performer was amazing. Did some weird things even in his career. That was like, you're friends with Paul McCartney, then you turn around and buy his catalog, and all that was weird to me. Yeah. And then obviously the whole thing with it was not a normal relationship he had with children, in my opinion. I don't care what anybody says. It was strange. I would not have sent my kid over there. I don't care. Did it do anything? I don't know. It just it smells and feels weird. I don't know. But it just was a strange thing at the very least. The whole stuff with kids.
Abnormal, right?
Yeah. So, and I feel bad for him because he grew up in a terrible, environment and everything else. I don't know. But all that doesn't mean if he laid a finger on kids, then if that ever comes out and it's really definitively, obviously there's allegations. We don't really, then that would take a different tone with me with his music at that point. Certainly, it's strange, but I don't know. But and like
I said, Brittany Spears was handled. This guy,
man,
geez, Skinner.
Yeah, think it was this show we had a conversation. I used to argue who was the better dancer, David Lee Roth or Michael Jackson, with my cousin on the
That's
front
easy.
porch when we were kids.
That's an easy
Yeah.
one.
That's
Yeah,
easy.
I think back now that she was totally right with Michael Jackson, hands down.
Without
But
question.
as a 10-year-old
Dave
or
was the
11-year-old
man.
kid who was infatuated with, at the time, Van Halen, that's who I thought. No, I go back and listen to his music. I'll never turn it off if the radio's on. It's music that will stand the test of time. A few songs more than others that he had. I'm with you, Fisher. Something doesn't smell right when it comes to all that stuff with the kids. And one thing that sticks out to me for a negative for Michael Jackson, and I can't shake that, is the one video where he's got a kid on the balcony of one of the hotels, and the kid is hanging on to this kid over a balcony. He's
Yeah, that
probably
was
three,
Well, that
crazy.
four,
was him
5
holding
stories
his own
tall.
kid.
That was his own child.
That was him holding his
Yes.
own kid over the. Yeah, it's
And
just
that's bothersome to me even now, just talking about it.
And the
When I
woman
saw
that
it
he
when it
actually
happened.
picked to allegedly have a child with, I still can't get over that. But anyway.
Yeah. So, rest in peace, Michael Jackson. He's the king of pop. He always will be. And like you said, Fish, if there's any inkling of truth about all the allegations, then my thought process and my liking towards his music will definitely change.
Yeah. This guy's a huge part of my childhood. I love me some Michael Jackson. I love me some Jackson 5. Some of the greatest songs. He is one of my favorite voices of all time.
Yeah.
Just man, I can't stop appreciating his voice. Just a beautiful clarity. Mike himself, one weird dude. That's a whole nother conversation. I think I agree with Fish. There were some very strange things happening as far as his relationship with children. He was warned. I think though he was a child himself, and I don't know the statistics of a child raping a child. I think he was a child himself, and I think he had this relationship with kids that wasn't healthy. He was warned about it. But I think people who wanted to bring him down exploited that weird situation and relationship that he had with kids, and they used that to do so. And it was successful into to at least stressing him out to the point that he fell off the top of the mountain. So I personally don't believe he raped anybody or sexually assaulted any children, but I think he set himself up for that demise. He shouldn't have been bad with kids.
Yeah. I tell you what, by the way, so if you're interested in it, go back and watch. They made a documentary of when he was prepping for that big tour when he died. Okay. There is some incredible footage of him in rehearsals around that time.
Yeah,
You get to
saw
see
it.
him singing and dancing. Yeah, so Skinner, if you haven't seen that, go check
Saw
that
that.
out.
I
Yeah.
have seen that actually.
Okay, well there you go. So yeah, I was astounded how
And if you want
talented
to
he
see
was,
something
and he was
more
so
incredible,
weird at the time. What's that?
you want to see something more incredible, go on YouTube and pull up him talking about Sony. You would think this would have been worldwide, but only on YouTube you can find it, where he basically talks about how he broke free from Sony, how they tried to control him. He actually called Tommy Mottola a devil, Mariah Carey's ex-husband, and there's the allegation that he kept her prisoner. She had to escape from him. And he basically outed Sony and all their evil ways and how they tried to trick him. He's supposed to do a few dates. They made it 50 dates. And he ended up dying recently after that when he outed Sony. But it's incredible footage of him just talking to a crowd about how evil Sony Records was and how he tricked them and ended up buying half the company and outsmarting them. Very incredible footage. Okay. Other thing, music news, guys. Certainly, we grew up listening to Rush. That is definitely part of our generation. The death of Neil Peart, one of the greatest innovative drummers of all time, caused an end to the band. But Alex Lifeson is finding life after Rush, guitarist for Rush, and he has a new band called Envy of None. Now, I didn't write down the names of the other players because there were people we didn't know, but I thought it'd be interesting to tell you the name of the new singer, Maya Win. and you can look. It's MAIAH Wynn, WYNN. I looked her up in the video I saw. She sounds like one of those bubblegum singers, so I was kind of surprised. But I'm interested to hear Alec Lifeson's new band. You guys like Alex Lifeson, or was it all about Pert and Geddy Lee? Skinner?
No, I liked him. The sound that band had with 3 individuals is unlike anything we ever heard. I'm going to be curious to see. I was not aware that he's got the new band out, and
Yep.
I'm interested now with you telling me that I'm definitely going to take a listen because I thought he was pretty fantastic.
Okay.
So
I'm in the never quite got Rush camp, but I can't deny that they are super talented in their musically, right? So yeah, good for him. So if maybe I'll check it out. Not against it. So yeah, good for him.
As a musician, I found Alex Lifeson an incredibly boring guitar player, and I hated his sound. That band to me was all about Peart and Geddy Lee. I thought they carried that band, so that's just me. Anyway, all right, guys, real quick. We all talked about we grew up this big metal fans, and I came across an article today in Loudwire magazine. I thought it was real interesting. It talked about they actually did a study, and the study was on heavy metal fans, and they came up with 12 reasons of the benefits of being a heavy metal fan. And because of my computer issues, I can't read you the facts of the study and also time. So I'm just going to read you the statements, and I want to know if you agree or not. So keep your answers kind of short. They said being a heavy metal fan, listening to heavy metal lowers your blood pressure. Agree or disagree, Fish?
I agree. I mean, it's definitely, it's a way to release some aggression. Certainly, if you're all kind of pent up, you could channel that energy through that type of music, most certainly. So I agree with that.
Fish?
yeah, that was Fish. This is Skinner.
I mean Skinner. Yeah, whatever.
I
hear him
absolutely agree with that. At work, I have a Bluetooth speaker, and they knew what kind of day I was having based on what music I was listening to. If I had heavy metal on, they knew to leave me alone because I was trying to chill out.
I disagree. I think heavy metal keeps you amped up and your blood pressure high. Okay. If they said if you listen to heavy metal, you are more likely to have sex in a car. Fisher?
Absolutely. I think I would like to think I've done that. So, yeah, it just you're different. You have a different attitude. Yeah, it's just you're a little bit more carefree, perhaps. So I agree with that statement.
Closet.
What Gen X metalhead hasn't had sex in a car?
I'm going to skip that one. All right. They say if you listen to heavy metal music, you are the happiest of music fans. Skinner?
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Why?
The music, I don't know. You're either born with that.
We know blues is depressing. We know country tells sad stories.
Mm-hmm.
But what about pop?
It's
rock.
There's a song called WAP, W-A-P. Do I need to say any more?
All right, case closed. Fish?
I mean, I agree. Country music, you talked about this recently and compared that. It's a very welcoming community, and it's just a different vibe. I tell you what, some of the most fun I've ever had in concerts was at metal concerts. And Slayer concerts, Skinner, you and I went to, in Cunningham, went to their finale tour. And then I went again that year to one in Youngstown. A concert like that, you are either, you get it and you're in it, or you are not. And if you are there, then it is a whole other layer of a sense of belonging and community. And you can walk around at a Slayer concert and just yell Slayer at random, and no one would think twice about it, and they will probably just repeat Slayer. It's just that type of environment. It's fabulous. It's great.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, it's different. Anyway, go ahead.
It's a Slayer. They said black and death metal is good for the focus. Skinner?
I'm not a death metal fan. You'd have to ask Mike Jr. on that one.
I don't know about focus on that. Some of that stuff gets a little bit too extreme for me, and I can't. No, so I think if you're a fan, you probably would say yes. I agree 100% because, I'm just
Oh,
not
it says
that into
death
all
metal.
that stuff, so I can't agree with that one. No,
It says death metal makes fans happy. That's kind of a benign statement. Let's skip
I would
that.
agree with that.
All
Yeah.
right.
2
It
minutes, brother.
says you can judge metal fans by their musical tastes. Classical fans are more about compassion, but metal fans are more systemized or systematic. I think I would agree with that. I think more classical fans are more I don't want to say that's interesting to say that because more classical people seem to be of not certainly not liberal, but to say that they're more compassionate, I don't know. I think it's the music is more of a feel, but I think metal fans is more cerebral, if anything, for sure. So interesting.
I agree
Now
with
this
that.
is real interesting, guys. They did a study. You can get a PhD in heavy metal in Australia, the University of Newcastle in Australia, and they said metal fans' music can affect driving safety. Agree or disagree, Fish?
I think yeah. I mean, I in the sense of if you turn up your music and you're in that zone, you're less you're less distracted by things. It makes you a little bit more focused. I've heard that before. I agree with it. So I say yes.
Skinner?
I agree with what Fish just said. Yeah, absolutely. Makes you more focused.
I think I don't know if it's the music. I think it's the fans. I see more pop people, kind of more bubblehead. Uh, not as paying attention and kind of aloof. So I would think metal fans are better drivers. And let me go to the last one real quick. Uh, Metal fans listening to metal for 1 hour has health benefits, and metal fans are most loyal.
I agree with that. I mean, it's if you have a passion about your particular band or bands that you really like. Of course, you can say this to a lot of music as well. Country's probably up there as well, frankly, with people who are passionate about their country singers and all of that. But I would agree with that from a metal perspective. You're very passionate on it, and you're not
It
going to
depends
listen
on
to
what they
anybody
mean
who
by loyal.
disagrees. Huh?
I think it all depends on what they mean by loyal. Because if you're talking about relationships,
Hmm.
then I don't know.
I think they
there's
might
a
be
lot of
talking
people
about
going on
loyal
country.
to the actual genre of music.
Okay, we'll go with that then. Interesting. I don't know if I'd agree with all of these, but it's just interesting that they would even do a study on metal fans. Today's metal fans now, I think, are more well adjusted. Us guys who are in our 50s and 60s, uh, than younger people listening to different types of music. I think listening to some of the smarter lyrics, some of the smarter bands, the Queensryches, the Fates Warnings, the things of that, have made us a little bit more well adjusted. So those are my thoughts, and I think that's it for our show, fellas.
Hold on. 5-second story. I met Allie, my lovely girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I put up a Tinder profile at the encouragement of Michelle Messner, Mike Skinner. I was wearing a random Motorhead T-shirt at a campground, sitting there holding a beer with sunglasses and a hat. Michelle says, "Put this picture up as your profile." I'm like, "You got to be out of your mind. No one's going to respond to this picture." She goes, "Put it up there. You look good. That's you. You look natural. Put it up there."
Wow.
I put up that picture on a dating website, and Allie caught the fact I was wearing a Motorhead T-shirt. She's a fellow metalhead. You may
Stop
not
it.
know that. Oh yeah, 100%. Her first word to me was Motorhead, and I'm like, who is this woman responding to me that knows Motorhead, appreciates it, and it was an instant connection. And then we went on our first date. She told me all about all these concerts. She's seen Megadeth several times. Motley Crue was her first concert, all this stuff. And I'm like,
That's amazing.
oh my God. So there you go. So that sense of community and like of that music is what the universe used to bring me my beautiful Allie. And to this day, we enjoy that music together. We've been to concerts. We're going to go to more. So the love of that music and the passion around it
brought you together.
Some beautiful
awesome.
effects out there.
Excellent
So
story to close.
there you have it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
All right. Hey, well, that's going to be it for the show. Skinner, take us home, baby.
Well, yeah, thanks for listening to us, folks. Catch us at linktr at ItCameFromGenX. For Brian Fisher and Keith Porter, I am Michael Skinbone Skinner. We bid you
Junior,
farewell.
thank you, baby.
See you next week. And cut.
Great story.